Hello. Sorry I'm late. I'm late a lot. Hey, Chris. Hey, Kaleidoscope. Do you want me to call you Kaleidoscope or can I call you something different? You let me know. Hey, Lance. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I can feel that. Hey, Katie Kitty. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Cher. Oh, she's going to try to be back because, I was supposed to go live at 4, but it just didn't quite work out. I take this really seriously. And, hey, Sharon. Hey, band. I take it seriously. So that means that when I am researching and putting everything together, I am really OCD about it. I want it to be right. So, without further ado, I am going to play a little intro so that I can go and print my my notes. Hopefully the printer will decide to work. I've had a lot of issues with my computer today and internet and just everything. So let me know if it's catching, you can't hear me. It's different stuff like that. So I don't know what's going on. It's beautiful outside. Hey, Taffy. Hey, Hope. Hey, Michelle. Thank you guys for coming. Sharon, I think I said hi to Sharon. But okay, so we're gonna play. Oh, look, it is Charles You're gonna have to help me say his name. I would pronounce it Karoly. John Horvath-Allan. That would be Mrs. Horvath. She is coming. She's with us from London, England. So that is awesome. And it kind of worked out because she was actually in the midst of traveling to and fro when I was supposed to go live at 4. So, yeah. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you kind of a timeline. There's one item that I know for sure is missing, but I just couldn't get time to get it all put into my notes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show a quick little video. It is one that Mrs. Horvath has made in honor of her son, and it's super pretty. It's a song. And so I figured I found that on her YouTube. So the link is in the description. I hope you guys all go and give that a listen to her. She has playlists for Charles with different news segments over the years and things like that. So I hope that you will go and subscribe and share and always like. It does help. And so, oh, you've never done this live before? Yeah. So tonight, like I said, I'm just going to be giving kind of the timeline, go over the course of his trip, and show some slides of different events as I talk about what happened with Charles, where he started, and where everything kind of came to a halt. But first, let's play this little video. When is it?
Today is where my book begins. I've got a lot to say. I've built my fences higher. I've dug my trenches wider since you went away. I feel the mist closing in again. My solace brings creation. I've given up the world I know in blind anticipation to carry you along on a plane and in the fiery tides, trying to bring some light upon your name. Lord, I'm here with a darkness in my soul until my boy comes home. Today is where my book begins. My notes are underway. I'm scratching down my fences. I'm filling in my trenches, and I'm dreaming of the journey to the place where there's no hurting you again. By your word shall you be judged. Not one word will fall upon the ground, and then you'll see what you have done. You'll beg the clouds to open, but you'll run because you're too afraid to face what heaven has to weigh you down. Lord, I'm here with a darkness in my soul until my boy comes home. Give me strength to face my enemies with smile and with empathy. For troubles you don't inflict on me, of tears that haven't blinded me, and let hope shine in all I know, and lay me safely down before I say farewell. Lord, I'm here. Lord, I'm here with the darkness in my soul until my boy comes home. Lord, I'm here with the darkness in my soul until my boy comes home.
That is just so pretty. I listened to it earlier. Oh, yeah, like I told you, there's just something about his eyes. So when an individual grabs me, I got to do it. So, yeah, your son had beautiful eyes and they just got to me. So I figured, thanks to Chris and his group Cold Cases, we are going to cover Charles. So, what I'm going to do is attempt to share some slides. Like I said, I'm new to the YouTube thing as far as like slides and whatnot, and doing kind of a live show that's more podcast style. So, bear with me per usual. I feel like I say that every episode. Hey, Monica, how are you doing? Is anybody coming in? Okay, so let me share my screen again. Well, there is quite a delay, isn't there? I've got my screen up on. This might be the help I was needing. Hold on just a sec. Yeah, I have a Google Earth. I actually started with Google Maps because of Namus. On Namus, you can like plug in the cases that you find on there to see if you can find patterns, and I love patterns. So does my brain, and that's what I like to do. So Google Earth is newer to me. Gray Hughes uses it all the time, and I literally, it bothers me to even look at a case without it anymore. It's weird because it gives you a visualization of like where you're going and what you're seeing. Now, I have no clue how to do slides, read, and do the Google Earth jumping around. I attempted to, and something was going on with, I couldn't get, it's got a grid and coordinates all over it, and I couldn't get it off. So I'm just going to do this, and then we'll kind of review the rest of it, if that makes sense. We'll kind of try to look at the Google Earth and just disregard all of the grid lines and coordinates, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen it do that before, and I couldn't find any button to fix it. So, yeah, that was fun. Nope. Okay. I guess I can't make it any bigger because I put it in a Google Doc instead of images. So another apparent mess up. I don't know how to make it bigger. Sorry. All right. Am I saying it right? Is it Karoly? 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 Hey, watchdog. How are my eyebrows? Are they any better? Hmm. Hmm. Well, since it's gonna be tiny, I guess I might as well just, like, see if this looks better. No. Hopefully everybody can still hear me okay. Okay, Karoly. Karoly John Horvath, aka Charles KJ Horvath-Allan. Um, when Charles was little, his teacher, I believe, was the one that couldn't say his name either, so I don't feel so bad, and they ended up calling him Charles. So, there was a quote that his mom had said to me when she first reached out to me in Messenger, and I thought I would just kinda read that. This is her son here, and, she's in the chat under Charles Karoly J. Horvath-Allan. Quote, "Soon it will be the 33rd anniversary since my 20-year-old son Soon it will be the 23rd anniversary since my 20-year-old son, Charles Horvath-Allan, arrived in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, full of hopes and dreams. Mrs. Denise Allen." So Charles was born on August 21st of 1968 in, I'm going to mess it up. I even asked Kaleidoscope how to say it. Cochinauer. I better. It is a cool name, isn't it? I love the name. I really like it. So Cochinauer, Ontario, Canada. Charles was born August 21st, 1968 in Cochinauer, Ontario, Canada, to Arpad Karoly Horvath and Denise Mary Horvath-Allan. Charles and his mom left Cochinauer. Charles and his mom left Cochinauer around 1973 for England. Here's the description. So we've got him and his beautiful mom. They were very close. Not very cool. She put these together. I did some of them. I added them to a black screen because I thought I would be able to show it way bigger, but apparently I don't know what I'm doing. And then we have him and his father, and that's little Charles, baby Charles. And here we have Charles as a young man. He was 20 years old when he went missing. He is described as a white male with brown eyes and black, short, straight hair. He is 183 centimeters, which is 6 foot tall, weighing 68 or 150 pounds, with a medium build and a light complexion. He has a tattoo on his left upper arm that is a side profile of a mohawked skull. I tried to, like, you know, not go crazy. We're not going to be doing any of that, but tried to just take this image and made it bigger. And so hopefully you can kind of see the mohawk here, and then the skull part with its mouth open, I believe. And here's the same tattoo on his left arm. He has a scar on the right side of his scalp, perpendicular to his ear. He has dental plates, 2 on his upper front teeth on the left. So now we're going to start kind of the timeline of events here. Hey, Kristen, thanks for coming. And anyone else I missed? I think I saw Amy sneak in and Watchdog, and Cher came back. So that's awesome. And Monica came. I really appreciate you guys being here. I really do. And then, so for as far as the timeline goes, we have this first image is on this is in 1988. On September 21st, Charles flew from Leeds Bradford Airport to Montreal International Airport to begin his trek across Canada. So let's see if we can pull up this part on Google Earth. Who knows? See what I'm talking about? Look at all those awful lines. It's irritating. I don't know what I hit, what I need to unhit. But it is. I still got your family on here that we covered Kaleidoscope together. O'Brien. This is not working out. I had all the pathways done, but that's why I kind of decided to make a video. But with it looking like that, I didn't even want to make one because I've done that before. Where I've made a video of Google Earth instead of trying to do it live. I am definitely not Gray Hughes. So there's that. But so he flew from here to here. Hmm. Yeah. Now it's gonna make me mad. And I'm just gonna have to mess with it until I can get it to do what I want to do. I had it tagged, but I'll do it. It's so annoying. I don't know how I did it earlier. Except that's not where he went. Okay, well, anyways. He flew from Leeds and he got to see what I mean? Like, I don't understand what's going on. Maybe I can just switch to Google Maps. No. Mm-mm. Well, maybe this won't show a grid, but I bet it doesn't have my pins on it. Nope. Okay, so Charles flew in to Montreal, which we saw on the little thing. I put a little picture on there. From Leeds to Montreal, and he was there until, well, in December. So he got there on September 22nd, and then on December 14th, Mrs. Denise, she came into town and went for a visit with her son Charles for 2 weeks and to watch him model. So he was working at the Delta Hotel by day, and then he worked as a model in the evenings. So she went to Montreal to see her son model. That's really cool. So the only time really Charles had a beard, she was telling me, was for this modeling job. And that's why in some of the later missing posters, it wasn't quite as accurate because he wasn't known to have a um bearded mustache. So then Charles takes a greyhound to Kanachara. I'm totally butchering that. I know I am, and I can't read the chat because it does. If it's not at the very bottom, like I don't know where it's at of how to say it. I'm probably just gonna go right now because it comes up a lot. I'm just gonna go right now and look for how to say it.
is pronounced Kelowna. Kelowna. The way I remember.
I don't think she said that one for me. Okay, so we're just going to go with Coachenour. And so he took a Greyhound to Coachenour to visit his godfather. His name was Gabby, and he is now deceased. He stayed there for an undetermined amount of time, and I was not able to verify exactly when, but it was in January of 1989 that he went there. And then after he left Coachenour, he went to Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, to visit his birth father. His name was Max Arpad Karoly Horvath, and he is deceased. He died in April of 2005, and his son, Maxwell, still lives in that area, and his father had remarried, and her name was Dorothy. And Maxwell, he went there around March 15th through the 17th approximately. And so, yeah, it's just taking greyhounds. And I found a little ad for one where it was like $99. You could basically do kind of what Charles was doing here, just taking greyhounds and hitchhiking his way across Canada. You got to remember this was in 1989, and I mean, I was still hitchhiking in the 90s. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Adventurous guy. So then we have him from Thunder Bay. He went to Current City, where we at least know he went there. They know that he went there because he cashed a check at the Royal Bank of Canada and in Swift Current, which is in Saskatchewan. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that one at least close. That's so weird that I can't hear her. So, yeah. Hey, Ivy, thanks for coming. Wanted to. Oh, really? That sounds cool. Close the program and reopen it. Oh, okay. Well, I might have to try that. Are you talking about to get rid of those grid lines? Oh, so you can't hear me? Oh, okay. Good deal. So, yes, he went from Thunder Bay and he went to Current City, Saskatchewan, and the teller remembers his beautiful smile, and he cashed a check. And from there, I haven't found, and I haven't found anywhere where there's mention of where he went after that, but we do have him showing up in Rimrock Hotel, which is in Bath, Alberta, Canada, and that was on April 17th. So this is the very cool Rimrock Hotel, which looks idyllic and really awesome. So he hitchhiked his way and took Greyhound buses until he got to here, and he faxed his mother from here. He sent her No, they had a phone call. And so they were just discussing what they wanted to do for their birthdays. It was going to be in August of this in 89. It was going to be his and her birthday. She was getting ready to turn 40 and he was getting ready to turn 21. So they had decided that they wanted to take a trip to Hong Kong. But Charles never got to find out and they never got to go, unfortunately. So from here, Charles's boss does remember him fondly and remembers him working there. Her name was Anna, and she remembered him fondly. So that's all I wrote down for that. And then we have his first night in Kelowna. So he travels from Rimrock Hotel in Bath to Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. What a mouthful. And his first night there, he had talked to his father. I'm guessing just kind of touch base and let Max know that where he was and things like that. He was really good about checking in with his mother. I do know that they talked a lot. They were really close. And I was listening to an article and it was talking about, or I was listening to a YouTube interview, and one of Mrs. Horvath's friends and family members or family member had said that they were super close and that they were friends as well as mother and daughter. And that's kind of always what you want when your kids grow up, when they start to go out on their own. You want to be their mom, but you also want to still be their friend. I know for me, it took me a long time to be my mom's friend. And now I'm so glad I have that she's my mom and I can always count on her because she's my mom, but she's also my friend. And I think with these two, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Okay, I'm glad you guys can hear me. That's always sucks when I talk and read and then no one can hear it. And so he stayed in City Park the first night, is what they believe. I'm assuming from his talk with Max. And sometime in May, we didn't have a specific date, he met a woman named Joanne Zebroff. And she lived in Kelowna, and she was on the Unsolved Mysteries episode. And she claims that her and Charles, she just really kind of liked him. He was unique. He was outgoing and friendly and just a really nice person. And they just kind of became fast friends. And she kind of knew him and saw him in different places, supposedly, throughout May when he arrived and into August. But again, I'm not sure on the validity of some of the information. Again, you got to remember this happened in 1989. And so you're counting on the newspapers and archives, you're counting on missing flyers, you're counting on eyewitness accounts and people giving their accounts, and you have to choose that their accounts are true or they're not true. Because some of these people were not asked until a lot later on dates and specifics like that. So, which I'm just going to pause there because this made me so mad. Everything that I have looked into in Canada, and I'm not saying it is an extensive amount. I do like to watch documentaries, and so it's a pretty good amount. And Canada's really sucks at, like, their RCMP is just really kind of with missing folks. Their database is really not that great, especially when you go and you search newspapers and old archives and you find unidentified remains and missing people, and then you expect to go over to Canada's missing, different websites and find those same remain, from newspapers, and they're not there. So what that tells me is we got a lot of work we could do. What if Charles's DNA was not given to them, and it was like 2013. So you're talking a lot later, and they scoffed at her about literally from the beginning. Like, it was pretty disturbing. Basically just kind of telling her, yeah, we'll get back with you, when he shows up. He just doesn't want you to find him. That was kind of their attitude. They didn't really take anything seriously. And mother kind of knows. Hey, Kate, how are you? Thanks for coming. Hey, Gray. Yeah, struggling, dude. Struggling with the Google Earth. Gotta leave it to the guru, I guess. Um, oh, Ivy, look at you. Kosh an hour. Or caution or. Thank you, dear. Now that I don't need to say it anymore. But you did it. Like, you came through. So I do appreciate it. But yeah, that's kind of why I thought we could just have some people to come join me on screen, and we just do some research, just some good old fashioned, like, searching newspapers, searching different missing and unidentified databases to try to find Charles, because he very well could be somewhere, as far as um, if he did pass away. Definitely the searching for unidentified remains is of really utmost importance. And so, am I using the web version? No, I'm using the app. Should I switch to the web? Angel Bear, hey girl. Thanks for being here. All right. So, from City Park, Charles went to the Gospel Mission, which I watched a little documentary on this place, and it's pretty cool. There's a lady on there that I want to try to get in contact with Mrs. Horvath, and so maybe the two of them can, um if Charles is missing and he is living on the streets, then maybe this lady, who seems like such a great heart, would be able to help her. Maybe she's seen Charles. Maybe he is still in the area. But he was there for 2 to 4 nights. So that would have been on May 4th through the 6th of 1989. And then he goes from the Gospel Mission and he's looking for work, wanting to just earn his way and support himself while he is on the last bits of his trek across Canada. So he goes to Job Mart and he does find a job at Gordon's Upholstery. And there he works for a guy named Vernon Gordon. And Vernon found him sleeping outside of the business. And so Vernon invited him to stay at his house for the evening. And after that, he directed him to a place called Tiny Town, where Charles was registered on May 11th and 17th. He was seen on the 19th and he was booked for 10 days. But whether the registrar from Tiny Town can be trusted or not, we're not really sure. Oh, wait. So the program on your PC. Yeah, it's on my MacBook. It's a, the Google Earth, like, app. I mean, it says I can open it up in the web version, but I just didn't know what was gonna happen if I tried to do that, if I would lose all my KMZ files. I don't remember it being like that back a while ago, but yeah. And I appreciate the help. I figured you were probably out golfing today. But, so yeah, this is Tiny Town, and it's kind of a campground right there by City Park and along the lake, Okanagan Lake. And we know that on May 11th, his mother got a fax from him, kind of like a letter, and he said, "Dear Mom, I hope you're well. How are the cats? How's my Nana?" Which I thought was so cute. And then he went on to talk about, kind of talking about what they were going to do in a flight from Vancouver to Hong Kong, and kind of, it must have been something about the prices. Joanne does say that he had brought that up to her, that he was unsure because of how expensive it was going to be to travel from Hong Kong, from Canada to Hong Kong. So, yeah. So this is Tiny Town. This is where Charles set up his tent. This is the owner of Tiny Town. His name is Phil Flutt, and he is dead now. He is deceased. So if you're in fear of him, fear no more, because he's dead. And if you know something and you have been in fear of him, not saying that he's involved, I literally do not know. But they just really want people to come forward that know what happened to Charles. And this man did have some of Charles' belongings. And as you can see here, this is Charles's pup tent, and it has an orange tarp over it. Other people have described it as a raincoat. So I don't know if that is a difference of, like, a cultural difference as far as that vernacular there. But it's a tarp for me in, Indiana. So it's an orange tarp over a blue pup tent. And this man here, Gordy Happ, helped Charles to set it up. And I kind of got a little closer here. And these were some of the people that Charles met in Tiny Town. Some of these men, and you can see here, just wanted to get images of different cars, different angles of this place to see if there is anything that we find later on that could be a clue. And these men have said to have taken Charles, or went with Charles, to Job Mart. Again, like, he worked at quite a few different jobs. There is one that I am missing. And so that will, it's a family that Mrs. Horvath has gotten to know. And so I figured she can tell us about that on part 2 as well. And then I will just add it into my PDF, which whenever I get done, I give the slides, the PDF, and then I'll make a video out of the Google Earth, and I give that all to her, and she can use that as she sees fit. That way she's not stuck with this of me rambling on. And then I will try to edit this portion of the video into some semblance, or I may just have to record it. And this little guy, his name is Michael Borden, and he grew up and he has been in contact with her, I believe. That's what the message she had sent me said. He was there with his family. But this is the orange shed, which will come up later on. And basically, that's where Phil Phil here put his stuff that wasn't taken by Kevin. So Kevin Trent Egan, he kind of took some of Charles's belongings. Hey, Faye. How you doing? Yes, it is. It's still there. But it doesn't have the same owner, at least as far as, like, on, the latest of Google Earth, like, it is still there, so. It looks like a really fun place. I know it was later described as pretty, sketchy, but, like, from the pictures, it looks like everywhere I mean, we even had this car, like, my dad had this car, and he used to get so it was the first time I ever saw my dad, I only saw him get angry. Literally, I'm almost 44, and I've seen my father angry maybe 3 times. No, 4, because I put my brother in the dryer one time, and he really did not like that. He got very upset with me. And then I got a tongue ring, and he did get upset with me when I got a tongue ring, which he should have because it was really stupid. And so was putting my brother in the dryer, like the laundry dryer. But we had one of these cars, and it was the first time my dad ever got mad. So when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, wow, look, there it is, a little hatchback." And, it was the worst car ever, and it was always breaking down, and so we kinda rolled into the Kroger parking lot, and that was the first time that I saw my dad mad because he hit the seat, and he said a curse word, which in my home was, probably why I remember it so much because we did not hear any cursing, which makes me I should feel bad about my horrible mouth sometimes. And I will have one of these before I pass to the afterlife. I will. So there was a group of bikers that kind of came into town. Like I said, he was registered at Tiny Town on May 11th. He had the facts with his mother on that same day, so we know that he was alive and well as far as May 11th goes. And then May 17th, he is on the registrar at Tiny Town. On May 19th, a group of about 75 bikers comes into town, and they were on their way to Falkland Stampede. So we need to find out when Falkland Stampede was to start, whatever that is. We need to find out what it is. We need to find out where it is and when it was going to start. Because what if Charles went with them? It's a possibility. Anything's really on the table. Oh, you did? See, now I don't feel so bad. I sure did. I put him right in the dryer. And yeah. Yeah, we do sound like angels, don't we? I didn't turn it on. We were just playing hide and seek. And so I just put him in there because he was little and he could hide. Oh, Ivy, I heard my mom curse once before I was 18, and to this day, I've never heard my dad curse unless he was repeating something someone else said. Somehow me and my brother both still curse like sailors. Yeah, like, what is with that? My sister, my younger sister, she's not a big cusser, but my brother and I, yeah, definitely. So what we have next is, again, on the 19th, 75 bikers come rolling into town. Now, there is a person named Gina Bordine, who is Michael's mother. I'm not sure if there is a senior, but she claims that Charles left the campground abruptly on the 19th. So that would be the same day that the bikers came into the campground. And he left his tent and all of his belongings behind. And so the 19th, He leaves his belongings, and this does include his ID, his passport, his, important papers and things like that. He leaves those. And then, oh man, I gotta get a drink. Well, let you share that. Gray's probably gone to do his own show, but I've got my cup. I love it. It keeps my water cold all night long. So then we move to, here's some more pictures of the biker group. It appears they have little kids with them, so I'm kind of wondering. That's kind of made me wonder if maybe they were perceived as being really rough, but maybe they weren't. I don't know. There's just so much kind of speculation you could do. And then we have Charles did work at Flintstones Bedrock City. So Fred and Wilma and their best friends, Barney Rubble. And so he worked there at the park. It is now closed, but it was somewhere around in here. There's literally, it says there's a sign at McCurdy and 97 to where you kind of go north there, and the park's right there. Then other places show it being over here by this lake. So who knows? But it's not on Google Earth when you go back in time, because you can't see anything. But yeah. Hey, Vid Inquiries, how are you doing? So yeah, he worked here and on May 26th, he picks up his last check up from Flintstones Bedrock City theme park. And then he cashes that check at Orchard Park Bank. So the park was in, the Royal Canadian Bank. So the Royal Bank of Canada. Is that the only parks you guys have? I mean, why do I keep saying parks? Is that the only banks you have, Kaleidoscope? Like, is it just like one, like national bank, and then there's no other? Because here we have tons and tons of bank branches and just different. I was just wondered that, because, or maybe there's a reason why he went to Royal Banks of Canada each time. I know here you have to have, in order to cash a check, you have to submit an ID. Probably 5 minutes at the tops. Ivy, I was answering your question. And so, yeah, I was kind of wondering that. Lots of different banks. Okay, well, he seemed to prefer these Royal Banks of Canada, and so I was kind of wondering what the reason behind that might be. Well, it was kind of one of my questions of, he went to one in Swift City or Swift Current, and then he went to this one. Was it just a coincidence? Was it just a convenient bank to go to? Was it his only option? I don't know. But the thing that I found interesting was that if his ID is back at Tiny Town, then how did he cash the check on May 26th? But this did happen in 1989. And so it very well could be that you didn't have to show a form of ID, or maybe it is just a US thing and in Canada it's different. But I thought it was a question of, what if there was someone that looked like Charles that had his ID and that cashed this check. If they charged to cash them back then, if you didn't go to your own bank. Oh, yeah, that's another thing too, but he wouldn't be at his own bank in any of these places, I would assume. I gotta get some freaking chapstick. Where is Amy? I need her help. I'm here. She's here. I need your help with my lips. I like what? That's all. Oh, you're an excellent researcher, so hopefully you'll join me and we can try to figure out some things for Charles's mother. Kind of, I am not a big channel at all. I'm not going to be able to raise much awareness for in Indiana, but I am really good at researching, and I know my friends are too. So I really think that there's some things that we can concentrate on. I am going to give you a little bit of more details because there are things that once we talk to Charles's mom, we'll better understand. But in order to kind of research, um, the part about his ID and his belongings being found there and different things like that. And then Joanne, like, I'm just because on the Unsolved Mysteries, it says that she saw him, he came by her apartment in May and she heard his voice and on the intercom and called and he wanted to come up, but they were having they had company and they were having a family dinner. So she had to tell him that he couldn't come up to her apartment she shared there with her mother. And so he left there, and that's the last time she heard from him. And then there was also the last time that he was seen by Flintstones, like he'd picked up his check, so he was obviously seen there. He was seen at the Orchard Park Royal Bank of Canada, and then nothing except there was a retraction on the Unsolved Mysteries episode where it said that Joanne was wrong about it being in May, that it was actually in July, is what they say on there. And that's still up for question of whether that's all true. But there is nobody better that can tell you this story better than Mrs. Denise. She is exactly the way I would be if my child were to go missing. It's hard to say that out loud. But I would never give up, and I would do exactly what this woman has done for all of these years. Remember, 30, almost 30, was it 33 years? Yeah, this is going to be the 33rd year that she has never given up on finding the answers that lead her to her son's body or to her son, whether he's alive and doesn't want to be found, whether he's alive and doesn't remember. I mean, at this point, there's so many different options, but he was born in 68. I was born in 78. So he's still a pretty young guy if he's out there. And so, Charles, if you're out there, please call your mom. Please call somebody and let them know that you are. And it's really hard to just disappear. Digitally, as far as your footprint, you leave a footprint behind you. And obviously, if he's left his passport, his ID, and all of these things, then are you putting people in timeout, Ivy? Oh, hey, Cece. I had him go into 2 different banks. Um, unless you're saying that he left from Flintstones, and the other article that I found said that he had cashed the check at Orchard Park Royal Bank of Canada, which was in um, Kelowna. It was 1840 Cooper Road, Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. And I did talk about earlier how he, on his way to Kelowna, he had cashed a check at current, what was that, Swift Current. But if he was, let me know. Um, let me know about that, because that kind of changes things if he was seen, if that was the account. Um, I just assumed that he was seen twice because that's what the other article had said, but I do not want to put out misinformation. So definitely let me know. Because the Swift Current is in Saskatchewan. And so there, in that Unsolved Mysteries too, there was, let me see if I can kind of show you guys around the map, even though it's got all these ugly ass lines that are just really bothering me. Yeah, because I know what he's talking about with the layers, but I literally unchecked all of the layers because I figured it could just be in there, but none of them are checked. Maybe I need to check them and then it'll go away. Nope. Mm-mm. It's so weird. I'm gonna try opening it up into a browser, see what happens. No, that's not it. And y'all, this makes me so mad because this took me so long to do all this, because I also mapped out all of the pathways. Give me just a second. That is a long ride on a Greyhound bus. So he starts out, obviously in Leeds. He lands in Montreal, to where he stays in the beautiful city of Montreal. And then he goes to Ivy. What was that first word? Some banks still charge to cash checks if you don't have an account with them. Okay. Why is this what I was talking about? Why deleting people's comments? What state is this? This is in Canada. So this is in British Columbia in the town of Kelowna, where he went missing, but he was actually going in a truck across Canada, and he started out on one end of Canada in Montreal, Ontario, and then or Quebec, and then city, and then he went to Cochin or to visit his godfather, and then he went down here to Thunder Bay, and then from there, I'm gonna turn all these back on because there's many kind of routes he could have taken. Make sure they're all still on. So then he is seen here, and this is the information that I'm wanting to verify because I double checked it, but she's saying that this was in Swift Current, so I don't know if she's talking about the one that occurred back in. Oh no, I have it on here as 3/20/89. But that's definitely not. Maybe I was assuming that it was right there close to the campground and the place that he worked, because Charles had an account at the Royal Bank of Canada, Place Villa Marie, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Okay. So he wouldn't have to show his ID in order to cash a check at that bank, or do you think that he would still have needed his ID to do that? And then is this, you're saying that the Swift Current Bank, from what I read, it said that he cashed the check in Orchard Park, which is just a location, not an actual orchard. It's just a Orchard Park, like how this one is Swift Current Bank of that one is Orchard Park Bank. And so from here, he goes to here. And this is the park. This is the city park where he camped at. And then he went to and a job mart was where the mission had kind of sent him. I wasn't able to find the mission, like an actual location for it, other than finding those really cool videos about it that I want his mom to reach out to that lady and talk to, because I think she could be a huge help. She obviously knows the community in Kelowna, and she probably knows other people that volunteer like her in other communities, if it is some by chance, maybe Charles did go, maybe he did leave abruptly, but he came back because, like to get his stuff. But then he decided, it still doesn't make sense of why he would leave all of his belongings. By all, I mean like all. He left all of his belongings there. So just who would do that if you're going to disappear? Like, so he goes to Job Mart in kind of this area, and the mission was not very far from it, from what I found, but it isn't really. It was hard to kind of find, so I don't know. And there was like two of them, so I didn't want to put any kind of false information out there because why do that? But anyway, so he does go here. The bridge, there, she'll tell us more about that, but there was a bridge that she received a note, and it wasn't until a couple years later at the lease where someone had left a note, and a taxi cab driver had given it to her at her hotel that she was staying at, the Pandosy Inn, which was pretty much literally coincidentally for everything that happened. It's right across from um, this tiny town here. So the note basically said, "Hey, like your son was killed in an accident, and two people hit him, and he died, and they threw him off of the bridge, and he is in the lake." Which, this is crazy. They did find, so she turns this over to the RCMP. They find they go out searching, and they find a body in the lake, and it's not Charles. They report that it's Charles in the media, but it is not Charles. Later, it is determined that it's not him. And I'm like, well, if they don't have his DNA, like, how did they know it wasn't him? I don't know. There's like, I have a lot of questions still. And I have listened, I've read through all of, she's been so kind to answer my questions in her messages. I've watched the Unsolved Mysteries. I've listened to a podcast, actually two. I've read through newspapers, what little there is. I have read through it's called Missing International, and they did a great job of putting together what I am failing at miserably to do tonight. It's amazing. So we'll go take a look at that here in a minute. But is there anybody that wants to jump on and try to help do a little research? So this is the end of McCurdy Road. March 89, when he cashed his check. So April, May. So yeah, that was before he went to Kelowna. The teller wrote his Canadian social insurance no on the check, also his Canadian citizenship number. Oh, number. So in March of 89, so that was before he went to Kelowna. When he cashed his check at the Royal Bank of Canada, the teller wrote his Canadian social insurance number on the check, also his Canadian citizenship number. I have this used check in my possession. Okay, so do you have the other check from when he cashed the check at the Orchard Royal Bank of Canada? Because this happened in March. He wasn't working at, and it was in Current City. So Swift Current. And so he did cash another check. It's in Orchard Park, which is just a little tiny little area in, I actually have it on here so I can show you. Because from there, you can see how far away, like, Saskatchewan is. I mean, this isn't the Rimrock where he stayed here and he worked at this hotel, but Saskatchewan is, and they all kind of do follow that path. See here, or no, that's not it. This is Current City, or I keep saying that, Swift Current right here. And this is that bank in Swift Current. See this bank here? So that's that bank, but so this is the bank that I showed in the first slide of banks. And then the next bank, no, that's that bank, is here. Because he had, if you cashed a check, then if this is part of the story, then ours had an account at the rural bank. Okay. But if he had an account, would he have still, why did he cash the check? So he didn't deposit the money into his an account. So he just cashed it. My question is just because I know when I go to my bank and like cash any kind of checks, because I work for myself. So if I cash a check, like I have to show some form of ID. And if they wrote that information on the check in Current City, it seems like even more proof that if you had that check in Orchard Park, and if it didn't have those things on it, then it might be able to tell us something if maybe they weren't as strict there and maybe it wasn't, like, hold on just a second. But maybe it was someone else who cashed that check. That's all I'm kind of wondering about. And I feel like the more details we can get squared away as far as like what you can put into the facts are the facts are the facts. And this is purely and grossly speculation. And then the column in the middle of like, this is speculation because it is third-hand account, but it is pretty reliable, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this one is the Orchard Park one. So it is in Kelowna. So it's still the same bank. It's just in a different location. And that one is in Kelowna here. But the papers even said that he cashed that check there. So I'm pretty sure that, but then again, RCMP have told some wild tales that did not end up being true. So basically what would have happened is he would have gone from Flintstones to cash his check here at Orchard Park. And then he's living over here in these areas. So this is, like where he worked for a day with him. It seems like wherever he went, he made friends. This is Tiny Town here, where he was living with, and these folks are the ones that kind of knew him. The address is 133 or yeah, 3316 Lakeshore Road. And then the bridge here. There's Job Mart. There's where he sent the fax to you. Here. And so he kind of really, he was really concentrated right around in this area right here. Other than, when he would find employment, he was a little farther away. Obviously, Tiny Town was over here, but a lot of the places that like he went to were kind of like right in this area, right by the bridge. And then obviously, living over in Tiny Town here, was where he was. And then here's Gordon's. Here's where he cashes the check from Flintstones, which I really kind of feel like it's a little bit farther down than what is shown there. Because it says that it's on your way to Vernon, and not really kind of like that place really isn't. Plus, there's a dinosaur that was left at the other place. So that's just kind of what made me kind of think that it was maybe at a different location along 97 here. But here's what I'm going to do right now. I do have some videos that I wanted to share. But the part about where he worked for an orchard, that was the part that I was missing, where he had met that nice family. I think that's a really important part of the timeline. So it was unfortunate. She's been traveling and not feeling very well at all. And I've just been trying to fill in all of the information. As the years go by, these get a lot of little tidbits added to them. And so because of that, I kind of wanted to, sometimes people are visual, sometimes you need all three. So I wanted to kind of show a little video, and hopefully it doesn't like get shut down because I show this. So we're going to 3429. Okay, so they do have his dental records. So this is his missing. This is the Canada's missing. It's really not. I don't know. I'm so used to NamUs and the national missing and so it's just kind of different. So I'm not used to the lack of information, I guess. Um, but the phone numbers, while we're here, we might as well give some of those. The Kelowna RCMP is 250-762-3300. The case reference number is 1989 21784. My stomach, I'm hungry. This is so cool. Like, I loved Unsolved Mysteries back in the day, so I was like super pumped for this.
This program is about unsolved mysteries. Whenever possible, the actual family members and police officials have participated in recreating the events. What you are about to see is not a news broadcast.
What did I do? You guys hear it okay? I know. It's such a great show, Cece. You guys hear it?
Whenever
You guys hear it? Yep. Okay. I'm going to play this. Well, it's letting me play it, so we'll continue to just go ahead and play this.
Him to have gone out intentionally to break away from his family because he wasn't that. It is totally out of character.
Time there with them, he did advise both relatives that it was his intention, when discussing his family situation, to disappear off the face of the earth, and that his mother would never find him, and that he wanted to carry on with his own life.
It is totally out of character for him to have gone out intentionally to break away from his family because he wasn't that kind of boy. He may have tried to imply to people who he is dead. And
see, he wouldn't have had any of that stuff like that they show there. Like what means would he, other than that one check that he had from Flintstones, like what means would he had to replenish all of his supplies?
He's been murdered. He needs burying. I've been asking for help for so many years because of my fear that something's happened to him, and it'll only be if he's found dead that I'll be proven right. What a way to be proven right.
Charles Horvath would now be 25 years old. He is 6 feet tall, with dark brown hair, dark brown eyes, and a tattoo on his left arm. When last seen, Charles weighed 165 pounds.
Oh, I have guests. I'll bring you guys on one at a time, okay? Hey, Ivy, you there?
Yep. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Like I told you, I'll apologize in advance to the audience. I got interrupted several times while I was trying to listen to the story, so I may ask questions that you already answered, but I'm going to try my best.
Oh, that's why I wanted you on here, because I know that you ask questions and they're always good, and you're really good at research.
That's something else to point out to all the people who I'm sure find me annoying and think I don't like them. I ask questions to my friends too and tell them that I don't think that's what happened. I don't know.
Yes, you do. You ask a lot. And that's like I do too. So that's probably why I love your questions. You always ask good ones, in my opinion. So, do you have any if anyone doesn't know who Ivy is, I'm sure everybody does. So, she's been a good friend of mine for what? I think we have like a group anniversary coming up for a couple
I
years.
think you might be right. I wish
I
we
think
could
it
go back
is.
and see it. That was in 2 years, I think, which is kinda crazy to think about.
Yeah. So, COVID. So yeah, it's like that's when I started doing all of
COVID,
this.
um, introvert, I don't know. That was my reasoning.
Right. I'm made for COVID. So I'm made for a stay at not COVID, which that's karma. But stay at home order, I'm totally made for it. I
Yeah,
know
my
we've talked
life
about that
didn't
and you are
change
too.
very much. So I was Googling his name, and I did think it was interesting that, and I'm not sure if this maybe negatively affects it. There's one guy who's an actor named Charles Horvath, and then there's another guy
Mm.
named, I don't know how to say the first name with starts with a K. Is it
Caroly.
Karoly? Yeah,
Well, let's
Karoly
just
Charles Horvath, who's a soccer player.
oh,
Isn't that crazy?
yeah, I found quite a few too, and I kept having to ask her because to me it seems like a really unique name. And so that there
Guess
would
with a
just
certain culture.
literally, especially if you typed in Canada, and then she gave me even more hints with Hungary, as far as that's where his dad, our pod, is from. And so I thought, well, for sure, like I was finding the right
Yeah,
people. And then I would ask her, and she'd be like,
soccer
no,
player
that's
is a
not him.
Hungarian soccer player.
And there
Hungarian-American
was
soccer players.
the one that went missing because there was
No,
a
the one that I
soccer player that
found
went
the
missing as well.
name.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, did he go miss? I didn't know. I just saw soccer and then I clicked off of it. Was he a soccer player? I'm just
There was another one that I had found, like a missing, unidentified, but like it kind of follow it through newspapers. And
Mhm.
it basically went from that to like they found his remains and he was a famous like soccer player is what I thought. And he went out and was jogging and it didn't seem that foul play was suspected. So I just kind of like dropped that.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
But I'm gonna add Tanya in here. She is our Canadian friend. Hi.
Hey,
Pronounce
Is there a fan on maybe?
no,
Do you guys
I
hear
think
that?
that's just yeah, I think it's just the background, I don't know what that's called, but
Oh,
uh-oh.
okay.
Jason, can you get my mic? Okay. I think it's in the box.
Oh, that'll probably work. That'll probably help big
it's not
time.
it's not super loud on my end, but, um
Yeah, I don't know why it's so loud on my end. That's what I thought it was for sure, like a fan. But
Yeah,
I
no,
bet
I don't have anything running. I made sure everything was off.
huh, that's weird.
Hang on and I'll get my mic going here.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you while you get that work. See if that works
Yeah.
better. Okay, so I figured we would just go over to um
do you
let
have
me
your
grab the link really
newspaper
quick. Huh?
login, handy? Do you have the newspaper.com login handy?
Well, I'm getting ready to pull that up on the screen, but
Okay.
no, because I have to change the password every time and I never remember what it is. So I've just started to
Oh,
stop paying attention. I just make up a bunch of words and then I just request a new password every time I get kicked out of it. It's so annoying. So this is literally one of the first ones that I could find on Charles, and it is dated. No, this isn't it. 1992. Yeah. Like, how sad is that? But, they had basically were saying that, well, he's run
1992?
away, well
That just clicked. 1992 was the first one that you found?
that's the first one I found in newspapers.com. And I searched literally all of his names, different versions of his names, and there's just literally nothing. So that was kind of upsetting, and they do have quite a few of
I
them.
hear it
So
now too.
you hear it now too?
Yeah,
I don't know what it
do you
is.
still hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I heard it when I first came in too.
Sometimes when you have your audio, like when you plug in your mic to your PC,
Yeah,
you have
okay,
to
I'm gonna mute again and
fix
check my
the
audio.
settings.
Yeah.
Or maybe the headphones are messing it up. I don't know. It's like some kind of feedback or something. Okay, so British mother Denise Allen won't rest until she finds out what. No, I want to zoom. What happened to her only son, Karoly John Charles Horvath, a strapping 6-foot 20-year-old, disappeared without a trace 3 years ago while camping in Kelowna. Allen has been searching ever since and returned to BC yesterday for the second time. I'll keep going until it kills me. It's so sad. I believe he's still alive. The last she heard from her son was May 1989 when they were arranging to celebrate their August birthdays. Charles would have been of 21 and his mother 40. Why does stop doing that? Charles had been backpacking across Canada in his venture and took him to Tiny Town Campground in Kelowna. He was working at Flintstones Adventure Park. He picked up his last check on May 26, said his mother. She traveled to Kelowna in the summer of 1990 and discovered that Horvath had abandoned his tent and other belongings, another indication he had not simply moved on. Police told me had they known that earlier, they would have taken it more seriously. Well, how about you find that out on your own? Why does the mother have to come all the way there from England in order for this to be uncovered? That's ridiculous. RCB said they have no clues despite an extensive search. No. Allen will be in Kelowna later this week and is searching with the help of the Canadian Search Center for Missing Children. The nonprofit group has set up a trust fund to help with expenses, including the hiring of a private investigators. Donations can be sent to, I'm sure that doesn't work anymore. But yeah, so I'll just go back. You guys still with me?
Yeah. I know this is in that specific case, she was able to go to Canada, right?
Yeah, she's been there. Well, the papers talk about 2 times. I'm pretty sure it's been more than that, but in 1990. And then do you have a month for us, Miss Denise, of when you went there?
Certainly not light complexion.
See, it's like Yep, just in US, but not really Canadian.
So what the point I was going to make is, while I could see why any parent would want to do that or feel the need to do that, it shouldn't have been necessary. And on top of that, can you imagine something like that happening and you don't, because it's expensive to travel like that. and you or take time off work or whatever. Can you imagine being a family who doesn't have the means to do that?
Right.
Which is just a whole other problem in a lot of systems, is if people don't have the means to either be there to stay on top of
I know.
officials,
You're
as
absolutely right.
a distance.
Yeah, so you can see me just kind of going through each state, and literally 92 is the first. It's one article basically, because it's the same article in two different papers. No, it's not. It's literally the same paper. So, and because where you want the paper to show up is at least in the state that it happened in. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we can check worldwide, but if it's not getting sent to Kelowna area people in British Columbia, like, what? That's a problem. But I think some of the problem has been the different names, because he went by Charles.
Is waiting on you. Sorry.
Do what?
Kaleidoscope is back.
Oh, okay.
I just looked at that thing.
Then when you type in Charles Horvath, then more things pop up. But that wasn't his name, like his birth name. The name on a lot of his birth records would be the Karoly John Horvath. So
things
that
might not be getting caught.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing with this one, is because of little things like that, them showing him with a beard, him not they're not consistently using like the name that was on his ID card. The one, yeah, he may have told people his name is Charles, so you definitely want to mention that he goes by Charles. But everywhere that it's talked about a missing person, you want to say, especially missing person, you want to say their full name, like every single name, and then the AKA Charles, and then it was KJ Horvath-Allan, which is her name when she got married in England when they moved there. And so you want to say, I know it's a lot, but you have to say all of those. Otherwise, what if someone knows him as Karoly and they don't know who Charles is? What if someone knows him as John? Like, what if someone knows him as Charles, but the papers doesn't say the Karoly John?
Yeah, or if you're somebody who thinks you know something, I can't talk, who thinks you know something, like, let's say you saw or heard something, and then a week later, this missing persons report comes up, and you're like, "That sounds familiar," but then you go and remember what name it was that you saw, and you hear Charles, and you're like, "Oh, well, that's obviously not that name. That doesn't even look like the same type of name," so you totally dismiss it and never report anything.
Right.
Because it's not the same person to you.
Yeah, let me try to go. Yeah, so that's a big problem that needs to be, like, she's had a lot of trouble with the information being consistent, and it's key things, like, I don't know if you heard in the Unsolved Mysteries that it said that his weight, even the weight was like different, because on the missing thing it says 150 for a 6 foot man to be 150 pounds. Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it is, but
his
like,
mom said,
this guy
I
doesn't
can't
look
remember
that.
how much it is, was 12.5 stone, which is about 175 pounds.
Okay, so there, like the 150 that it says on his missing, and then but he actually weighs quite a bit more. So people, you read that and you're gonna be like, oh wow, I'm literally looking for a skeleton that's alive still at 150 pounds and 6 foot tall. They're not looking for a pretty fit, young man that wasn't, no, he's not skinny, but he's got a nice build. So it's just little things like that, I'm sure. And then they just basically brushed her off until she made a stink and had to literally go there. Like you were saying, like, what if people don't have the money for that? It's really sad.
I wonder what
Oh,
the border was like
I don't
back
see
then.
her. She's not here.
Oh, I just saw in the chat that it said, "Can you let me back in?"
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's hard when you don't have a bunch of screens going on.
Yeah, and I can't, I don't
I
know.
wonder what the border was like at that time to get over.
I mean, you could go, you didn't
Like,
have to have a passport
you
for
didn't.
America. No. Well, at least to go to Niagara Falls. I should take that back.
That's one place.
That one little place you could. Now you have to, so just ignore me. I don't know why I even said that
It's
out loud.
probably the same. I would imagine it's the same everywhere, but I don't know. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to go to South Padre and go over the border to Mexico, and all you
Yeah.
had to do was tell them you were an American and give them a quarter. And
Are you serious?
I think it was like a quarter or 50 cents per person
Here's
to
a
cross.
quarter. Oh, wow, that's hilarious.
But now you
Now you gotta
everything, yeah.
oh, yeah. Passports are not cheap.
Now, does NamUs, do they do international, or is it just
Oh, gosh. I'll have to try to get Namus up somewhere else. See if it'll maybe Tanya will know. There she is. Maybe she'll know of, other places that There we
Sorry,
go.
I lost my internet.
That sounds better. I don't hear it.
Okay, good.
Do you guys have any a national missing, database other than the one that I found, the
That's
Canada's
the
Missing?
only one. And one of the things with that is it's only submitted by the police, and they can choose not to submit if they don't want to. So it's not a very accurate portrayal.
it looks like the Doe Network has some Canadians on there.
Yeah.
The Doe Network is the other link that I put in the description, and again, it has some information that isn't correct either. So I wish there was a way we could get all of these. The two, I guess there's only two. I'm trying to check. I'm pretty sure that Namus does have Canadian, but again, I don't remember my login for anything, so it'll take a minute. I was just gonna pull it up on my phone and then fly it over.
Looks like they have a national missing persons DNA program. Where you have to have the person's DNA, or if you can be a family member and submit your own DNA. Oh, it says right here. What do you know? There's missing persons index and relatives of missing persons index.
Where's that on?
I'll send you this link. It's on the Royal Canadian Mounted Police website. They had a list of things.
Oh.
Oh, wait, hold. Sorry, I'm on two different devices. There, I sent you a link. I was on my phone, or I would have put it in the chat here.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, that's Canada's Missing.
There was a DNA on there too.
Facial reconstruction, the Family's Guide to National Missing Persons DNA Program.
Yeah, there's a couple on there.
National Missing Persons.
Something right now, but. And see, I don't know Canada's geography. Well, I'm not very good with the U.S. geography at times, but I definitely don't know Canada's geography well enough to see where those people were found and then know if it's in the area.
Yeah, that's why it's yeah, it makes it a lot easier when you can know the area where you're looking and then go back. So this is the same. Canada's missing reporting. It's probably specialized services. Yeah, man, there's just really not a lot, like...
Not as many resources, definitely.
No, how sad. So let's just try a specific search to see what happens. What? Oh, there it is. Duh.
I have a question for his mom. Oh, hold on. Let me mute for a minute.
Okay. What? That's ridiculous. Just none. Tanya, do you have anywhere else we can search?
I think it's done. My boyfriend just got home. So what was my question? So I know he was last seen around, now I don't know how to pronounce it, the one that starts with a K. How do you say that?
Karoly.
And no, the town.
Kelowna?
Yes. Isn't that like the last place, the last area he was in?
Yeah.
So when his mom got the letter, I think it was either you or the TV show read at least part of it. Was that all the letter? And did he have any plans of going somewhere? And what was the date of the last letter to when he was last seen? Was there an opportunity for him to like go on a short trip and go missing there instead of in that area? Does that make sense?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to figure out if he was planning to stay in that area or if he potentially could have gone on like a short trip from the area he was known to be in, and maybe that's where he got missing. So my question was, do we know everything it said in the letter, and what day was the letter sent compared to what day he was last seen?
Well, it was sent by fax. So
Okay.
it's pretty... Let me find that.
I think it was you that read part of it. I didn't know if it was all of it or just snippets of it.
This is the one that was like really, really good. They did an excellent job putting this together. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
So you literally, like, you start exploring. How cool is this? I wasn't able to get much out of the map because it's just like white, and I don't know if I'm not hooked up to this particular like JPEG or what, but so it kind of just goes through where did Charles stay? So And then there was one for who was Charles in contact with. Charles was sociable, an outgoing person who easily connected with people he met on his travels. He was friendly and easygoing and enjoyed spending time with a variety of people. It's important to establish who Charles was in contact with in Kelowna. He visited the Livewire nightclub, which was 220 Lawrence Avenue. And there really wasn't any kind of like reference for any of these people. His mother, bless her heart, like she has been sending me a lot of stuff in Messenger. It's just like really hard to like keep track of all of it. And then search for it properly when it, like, you know how it is, like with, you gotta, if you put a name or like a tag, something I can tag it, then it's easy to go back and find. But man, she's on top of it. She's got a ton of information. Was at Jonathan Siegel's Bistro in Kelowna. He was seen talking to a man and it was advised not to travel to a party with that man as he might not come back. But like, where is this information coming from? You know? So I don't know. And I didn't find a reference page for this. So this is the final letter. May 11th from Roche Stationers. It's called Roche Office in Kelowna. It was to be the last letter he sent to his family. It shows that Charles had been making steps to finalize flight plans to meet his mother, Denise, in Hong Kong. So if he's doing all of that, he's talking to Joanne about that. Like, and that would be the flight would have been in Vancouver. So he's literally like right here along, like he was already literally right here. I don't know if you can see my little hand waving. But so, like, it doesn't make sense that he would just all of a sudden decide, oh, yeah, by the way, oh, I forgot that back here, you know, if we're doing this as a map, here's BC, here's Alberta, Saskatchewan, and you just keep going over when he's up here in Ontario, and he's saying that this is that he was just didn't want to be found, which later comes out that the dad, when his father, Max, and his other family members were asked about that, they were like, absolutely not. That never happened. And his birth father was super mad. So he just lied. Like he straight up just lied about it. You know, like, why would you lie about that? Other than, and then I don't know. I wasn't going to show that because it doesn't make any sense. Charles was at Tiny Town on May 19th. So there are some receipts for this kind of stuff too. To John Mark, Charles' tent is visible in photographs, so you can actually see his tent. The camp manager reported that to have said that Charles was booked in for 10 days. The source may be unreliable, and the register may be unreliable too. So you literally can't even rely on a register. It's just like, so there is a receipt for like he did apply at Job Mart and they basically like outsource the jobs, if I'm speaking correctly on that. And then he got a job at Tana's Family Orchard in Kelowna digging irrigation ditches, and that was on May 18th and like, so on 17th and 18th May. And then on the 23rd, he received help from a local family to complete an application to apply for welfare. So why would he be applying for welfare if he's getting ready to leave?
I don't know if it's the same as our welfare, or if maybe there's like short-term options, or You know, because we don't have that many options here for welfare. It's either like
Maybe he was sick.
Hmm?
Maybe he was sick. I don't know.
I'm gonna make a list.
So you mean like short? But I mean, this was May, June, July, August. Like this was like almost like May 23rd. So you literally like have 2 months, not even a month of applying for welfare. So if he wasn't, everything seems to point that he had told Joanne, if we believe her, that he was worried because the tickets were just too expensive. Before he left, he had asked his mom if she would come to Canada to hang out with him on their birthdays, their birthday month. And then, but the facts that when they talked, and then the facts was, you know, kind of letting them know about the plans for Hong Kong. And then his mom never got a chance to tell him that she wasn't unable to book those flights. So he didn't know that there wasn't going to go ahead and be a flight in Vancouver. And she was just waiting for him to reach out to her again so that they could decide something different, you know? So it's kind of weird. So the letters came, and this was not until 1992. It just seems like super weird that it did start to be, you know, unsolved mysteries. You've got other things, other places, you know, once somewhere big starts covering something, then all the other, that's why there's probably more newspaper articles, because it gets covered by some kind of a big deal, and then everyone else kind of follows suit. That's why a lot of the information is the same. They'll change a few things, and then that's how misinformation ends up getting spread too. But basically, in these, it was someone on March 16th, 1992, in an anonymous note was delivered by Kelowna cabs to Charles's mother, Denise, who was staying at the Pandozy Inn. The cab driver stated that he collected the note from a very nervous young man at a payphone near the Salvation Army building in Kelowna. Shortly after the search began, Denise received a second anonymous note collected by a cab driver from outside an apartment block on Bernard Avenue. On November 5th, 1992, a young lady came to the Pandozy Inn to speak to Denise, who was out at the time. The young lady told the manageress that they were wasting their time searching for Charles. She knew what had happened to him, but had been too scared to come forward. The young lady was never identified. But these basically say you're on the wrong side of the bridge, like they're searching on the wrong side. And this one is the account that you heard on Unsolved Mysteries.
Is that accurate or not?
The account that you heard on Unsolved Mysteries. That's not her. So.
It's quite possible.
Is that accurate or not? Oh. On mute. You want me to mute you?
I can come back.
Hi.
It doesn't matter. I'm still listening.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, and with that, it could go either way, because I think, just from what I've heard about it, it could be on the wrong side of the bridge as well.
Yeah. Do you know this area? Do you guys know this area?
Tanya does. I'm not too sure of it. I was raised in Calgary, so between Calgary and Manitoba. So.
I'll come back.
But she's coming back here.
Okay. I mean, it kind of seems like a quaint little, pretty nice little town. It doesn't seem nefarious.
I can't hear them, so.
Okay.
Hi. So
Okay, I'm back.
You were saying that you did live there, or I mean that you're familiar with that area?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't know where places are. So he said where he was
Yeah.
from, but I do not know where that is at in relation to where he was at.
Jason had the
I do know
headphones,
where
so I
Calgary is, yeah. So
okay.
I'm geographically stunted.
Well, actually, so am I. I'm not the greatest either, but okay. So, what places are we trying to figure out?
Ivy had a question, and then we were kind of talking about the wrong side of the bridge, but they've recently like built a new one, and so you kind of got to look really close at the
bridge.
Yeah.
We're talking about the bridge.
Okay, what about it?
Well, where the body, because some people have been seeing the bodies on the other side of the bridge instead of the one that they've been searching for.
See this?
Well, they searched both sides, though, didn't they?
They only searched the one side, as far as I understood.
No, they searched the one side, and then she got the note that said they were on the wrong side, so then they searched the other.
Probably, but maybe not far enough.
Okay. That bridge is scary to drive on, by the way.
It looks pretty scary. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It looks pretty scary.
Only did it once, didn't ever want to do it again.
Like, it's a floating bridge. Is this the new one or the old one?
I would have been on the old one.
It's crazy.
I've never been on the new one.
But my thing is like,
here, I'll squeeze by
like
you,
you would
and I'll go
think that you would want to search on this side of the lake because of where Tiny Town is. But
and they searched the other side.
It's crazy to me that they found a body that wasn't him. I do think I found it.
Wasn't it said that other body had been there for 7 years when they found it?
I don't know. If that's true, then I found the wrong person. Let me go look.
I could be misremembering.
I don't think I put it in here.
Why did you bring me my food? So you can eat. I'm not eating on camera.
There was this one, and this was in 1990, October 29th, 1990, and it just says, are investigating the death of 44-year-old Paul Sukashoff, whose body was found floating near a boat dock. So that would not be, would that be it? I mean, we kind of really just need his mom. I think she's, had been in the Okanagan for 7 years, so this wouldn't be the body.
Mine came back just as you said it.
Well, then, like, why would they even think for even a second if...
Technical issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You want me to just mute you guys, or...
No.
Oh, okay. Why would they even...
I've got internet because I need internet with this game. Because otherwise it kicks me out. Constantly.
What?
Oh, it's just Jason in the background.
Oh, okay. He's
Something
like comes in like really loud, like louder than you.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, gee, and he's nowhere near.
Yeah,
that's
we
weird.
heard some.
Yeah, he sounds like he's like right next to you.
Yeah, he's making some interesting noises earlier.
You're too loud, dear. They can hear you better than me. Anyone who knows us would never say that.
That's funny.
I'm the one that's got the quiet voice.
Everyone always says he's the quiet one.
So definitely, that's another question. Okay, so this is a 7-year-old body that's in the lake. Like,
It should be obvious,
the composition,
right?
it should be blatantly obvious. Well, no, not necessarily, because this wasn't. I mean, it just kind of waiting on when this trip, because she took several different trips, and like I said, it's been really hard to collect information. And that's why I want to talk to her on another episode, because she has like all of the search. So everything past like what I've done so far. But I thought it would be kind of nice if we could kind of start on a path of like, since she wasn't able to do today, like start on a path of like where, okay, so they have his dental records. They don't have a lot of good, this isn't America as far as searching for missing and unidentified. There's no unidentified that are showing up in Kelowna as far as their organization that they do have for missing and unidentified. But yeah, the body, a 7-year-old in a lake versus 89 to 90, say it was on her first trip. Hopefully she'll answer us in the chat. Say it was on her first trip, then that would still could be close to a year.
Yeah, a 7-year-old body.
I believe one article I read said she'd been looking for him for 2 years when the body was found.
That's what I was thinking. So
that
would have been in 1990. No, 91, sorry.
Wow.
But that might not be accurate either. It's better to know from Denise.
I have trekked across the world over 14 times in search of the truth and the demise of my young son, Charles Horvath. First trip was in 1990. So
I can't imagine.
because they reported it wrong, so maybe.
One thing I would like to do is like make a timeline, and then kind of like you were talking about earlier, figure out which there is definite evidence for and which stuff that there's not evidence for, or that we don't know that could be potentially wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of what I did.
Thank you.
So I kind of took your idea of what we were going to do with Greeno and did it with this one. So I did the slides on one, and then I put the proof on one document, the timeline on one, and then the slides on another. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this is like his May timeline.
Okay.
The second trip was in 1992. So the second trip is when the body was found, not in 1990. Body found in 1992, April 3rd.
Oops, sorry about that.
There's your hockey player. Or did you find a soccer player?
No, soccer player. That's what it was. It was soccer. But they were Hungarian or Hungarian American.
So I found an article where it's like not proved to be his. Last week near the floating bridge are not Horvaths, according to the Kelowna RCMP. Police are asking for the writer of the letter to come forward with more information in this case.
So many letters. What's up with that? Wasn't there
I don't know.
right?
It's so weird. I mean, to think like, is that just like maybe that's a Tanya question. Is that like a popular thing in Canada in 1989 to like have a cabbie deliver a note?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's weird to me.
I mean, writing
It
letters
is to me too. Back then, I mean, it was before cell phones and internet, so letters wasn't that uncommon, but I've never heard of delivering one in a cab.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, can you take this note? Or like flagging down one. I don't know, because it was like that would be 2 times that happened. 2 separate times. It's just
and I mean, you could call.
And Kelowna isn't that big of a community. You would think somebody would have known who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Though it is a slightly more transient population, so maybe, I guess, but...
Why is that?
Well, because it's a touristy area, right? So...
Okay, when I hear the word transit, I think like not tourist, but that they would definitely fall under that category too.
Okay, yeah. More of a tourist area, so you're used to strange faces around, just like where I grew up.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Okanagan. Okanagan. I think.
Yes.
No, why is it that? Because it said he was believed to have registered in Tiny Town on May 8th or around May 8th. But then I'm pretty sure you said that they're not sure if you can believe the register. But why is that? That to me, that would be a good piece of evidence, unless they suspect somebody of forging it. And then to me, that's also a good piece of evidence if somebody forged it.
Yeah.
I interpreted it as they were saying the registrar, which to me would have been the person writing it down. I could have misinterpreted
but even then,
that.
Because it says Charles is believed to have registered at Tiny Town around May 8th. The only official entry in the there it is. The only official entry in the Tiny Town register shows Charles staying on May 11th. So maybe they're using the word registered different than I'm thinking of. I picture when it says he's registered, I'm picturing him like at a desk, either talking to somebody and they're taking his information, or he's writing down like on a piece of paper a form.
Right.
And it's official.
Yeah, like a registrar is like what they would have at you write your name down and sign in, basically. Or
when we went,
signs you in, like at a doctor's office or whatever.
When we went camping in BC around that, I think it would have been in the early 90s, all we really did was we actually used a phone that was outside and called at some of them, like at some of the campsites, and called and gave them our name and they wrote it down, and that was that. And then we paid, they came around and collected the fee.
Which now that you say that, I have been camping before when I was in college. This might make me sound bad, and they would drive around and like collect at your camping site. And I remember being like, if they don't make it, we don't have to pay, like, you know, good for us. You weren't trying to find them to give them your money.
No. Oh. Okay. That's why. Okay.
Oh, weird. See, and to me, that's like evidence of something else, a different type of evidence. Why would
there any way to scrape off the whiteout and see what's under it? I've done that.
Yeah. Ivy, can you read this article out loud?
What's that?
Yes.
I've done it.
The one titled Body in Lake.
Mm-hmm.
A body found last week in Okanagan Lake has been identified as that of Edgar Dixon, 64, of Kelowna, who went missing May 7th, 1985. Coroner Dick Gunuff said yesterday that Dixon's death has been ruled a suicide. Divers found the body while searching the lake for Charles Horvath, 20, of Britain, who has been missing since mid-1989.
So, not 85. So that's only 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And bodies.
But then by the time the body was found, wait, what? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that would be because if it was 2 years
Yeah.
later, then it'd be like 6 years and 2 years. Or
So yeah, obviously state of decomp is going to be altered by the water. It's going to be altered by the temperature of the water. This is Canada in May, so I'm assuming that it's still not real warm. Is that correct, Tanya?
plus they've gone through several winters and several summers.
Oh, Tanya's gone.
Yeah.
She gone.
I think in the summer it doesn't get hot like it does here, but I think it gets warm still though.
Does anybody want to join us? But yeah, I would assume that the water was not very warm, so that will alter it'll slow down the process of decomp.
But won't the water itself though
Yeah.
heat it up like way fast?
Not necessarily not with like it really kind of just depends. But obviously with 7 years going by, it would more than likely be skeletal remains regardless, depending on, because you got to think about a lot of different things. This story kind of also grabbed onto me because of the foots. You've heard me talking about the foots,
yes,
right?
yes. Well, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, turning up, because it is along this Canadian waterway line. So, but I don't know if Kat is in here or not to ask her. She knows all about the foots. Calf does, but I don't know.
I can't remember who it was. I think it was me and Crimezilla watched 1 or 2 videos about it, but it's been at least 6 months ago, if not longer.
Right.
And then for some reason, we looked it up again the other day. By the other day, I mean like in the last month. She says the Okanagan Lake is one of the deepest and coldest lakes in the world.
Oh, wow. So
Owned rented for the following week. So where was he in between those two?
In between what two?
Those two. I was asking his mom in the chat. She said he stayed on 2 occasions between the 8th and 11th of May, and then between the 17th and 19th.
Yeah. But, well, he did stay at another family's house when he was working for an orchard. But the thing that's interesting, so Gino, he said that he left abruptly on the 19th. Where was he from the 19th to when he shows up on the 26th? Because obviously, if Gino was there and he didn't come back, that was the other thing we were supposed to look up, is the Stampede place. Because Tiny Town is way over here. And
how far is that? I wonder if each one of those squares is a mile. And it's not like he has a vehicle, right? He's hitchhiking.
Yeah, I just had to end it right here because I didn't know if it was here, off of McCurdy, or if it was actually up here where all the pictures of the stuff was found. So apparently at some point you could go here and literally find the Fred Flintstone, like on Google Earth, like someone spotted it on Google Earth. And then they had one of the last remaining dinosaurs from the park, but it was all the way over here. And then, but the papers say that the park's like back over here. So it's super confusing, even that. And I tried for days just to verify that information, and I could never get anything more than just like the papers say north on McCurdy. That's literally it. So it's in Falkland, BC, Canada.
I want to know more about when he was supposedly seen in the bistro and told not to go with that man.
Yeah, don't know. Okay. So they were likely gonna be. So they stay in Tiny Town. They probably they go up to the bridge, cross over the bridge, and then continue on up to Falkland. That's where the stampede was that they were headed to. But like, what date did they have to be there? Because there was a body found in Camp Loops, that I had found. So that's interesting. And it's unidentified, but it's not in Canada Missing.
What is up with them?
I don't know. But according to the papers, there are unidentified remains even in Kelowna. But when you go to their websites to try to find, there's nothing. So I don't know. Well, like Tanya said earlier, they're not required to put them in if they don't want to, if they don't feel like it. So, and to me, you got to think like, with as many years that has gone by, dependent on, okay, let's just say that Charles did meet with foul play, which I mean, his mother did have him declared dead. And I was talking to her, and I was just messaging with her and telling her, it's really hard to digitally disappear. Like your digital footprint of like, basically you just have to walk away from everything and then get a new identity, or like, what are the chances of that? And then it doesn't sound like from anyone's perspective, he was even, let's say outside of his mother or father or stepdad and family, like no one else is saying, no one else is corroborating that he's just like taken off, because they did lie about that. So he picks up a check and then he's just nowhere to be found. To me, knowing because like she was saying earlier, you had to show he had the insurance card number was on that return check that she has in her possession. Well, what about the second check? Is his insurance card, his ID on that check? Because if it is, it's super suspicious, because all of his stuff was left in the campground. He left there on the 19th.
And maybe I'm just from a rural area, but I can't count how many times I've cashed a check without showing ID.
Yeah, I didn't think you could. That's why I thought it was kind of significant, because then that would just mean whomever had his ID is the one that cashed it. But do they have proof that it was actually Charles? Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me if they cashed a check without ID. I'm not saying that that's what happened or that's more likely to be what has happened, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. They're just not like real. They take a check. It's not like a big deal to a bank because they want you to put your money in the bank. So seem like if they're going to be sticklers on anything, they're not going to lose anything, but still, like, you're not opening and you're not putting any money into your account. So it's like, just come in, like any old Joe Smoke could just come in here and cash somebody's check. Like, that's kind of scary.
Well, if you were taking money out of an account and they gave it to the wrong person, then they'd have to replace the money. But if you just cash the wrong check, they're not really out anything. And I don't even think it's a matter so much of like not caring. It's depending on the culture of the area. Again, I grew up in a more rural area. You're more trusting of people. You know, it's just how it is. Again, I don't know what it's like there. So.
Yeah. That's his mom.
Then there's a thing with the sailboat. And I know you went over all this, but I really have trouble like absorbing things that I don't read myself.
Yeah.
What was the last day he was like for sure seen again?
Well, according to the RCMP, it is at Orchard Park, Royal Bank of Canada.
Oh yeah. What day was that?
May 26, 1989. Last trip to find lost son. Mother returning this weekend to Kelowna to look for England. Disappeared 7 years ago. Most searchers will be actor Roger Shank. I'm burned out emotionally. Oh. How awful. The depth from the 2 months she spent in 1992 looking for clues as to what happened to her son. I mean, they literally stayed there. She was telling me one time it was for like 7 weeks. Her mom stayed even longer. Like, they literally stayed there on separate occasions for quite an extended period of time, like a month, like 2 months.
And it's kind of the same thing as like having to declare your child as deceased. It's like we either go into potentially like crippling debt or we stop looking for our child. Like, what are you supposed to do in that situation?
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you think about dental records, that would, because you know how I am with NamUs, and like I've been looking for Boone County Jane Doe for I don't even know how long, at least a good decade, if not probably longer than a decade. And there's a ton of, so I'm constantly looking at NamUs for unidentified remains, and there's a lot where it's just a jawbone. But outside of, so that means that there's other bones that could be Charles's that they just don't know because they don't have his dental records. They didn't get his dental record or his DNA until I think she told me like 2013, 2012. I didn't take a screenshot of it, so I don't have it memorized. It was just in our conversation. So up until that point, like, that's why I was saying, I think it's really important that I give you my newspapers.com login and we try to find some unidentified remains that are still unidentified. Like, what if Charles has been there all along?
I was trying to find that, not to get off topic, but that sailboat. I'm trying to get back to there it is. Does anybody know, the sailboat has not been substantiated, correct?
No.
Is there any idea who the person, if it did happen, who the person may have been?
That would be a question for her.
One thing about this case that makes it extra hard is that he was around, like, let's say in the last, 2 to 4 weeks before he went missing. He was with a significantly higher number of people than the average missing person was with, just because of, how he was traveling and whatnot. And, staying with different people, working for different people. There's a ton of people he met. But
yeah, for sure.
Like that one, and then that other one that I mentioned before that I said I wanted, the thing at the nightclub, those kind of things I wish we had more information about. And like, say, and I hate to say this, especially knowing his mom is watching, even though I'm sure she's had worse thoughts herself.
Yeah.
Like this guy he potentially went out on a sailboat with, was that on that same lake, what is it, Okanagan? I don't know what it's called now. Okanagan? I can't remember. Yes, there you go. The coldest and deepest lake.
Right.
Could he have been in contact with that person and gone back out, and something happened out there and they threw him like overboard or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, I just watched a show about a story like that, so that's kind of in my head. Anyway,
there's a ton of, like, I have come across quite a lot of bodies identified or missing because they were out on this lake. So, like, a lot. I was kind of surprised by that. So, yeah, because it took a while to, like, get him out of there. But
I wonder if it's like a known place to dump people.
But I don't know. This, like, search is not, I didn't save a lot of them because they weren't.
Well, this particular thing on the, side note, when we get done with this, we need to check the description, because when I clicked the locate.international link, it didn't work.
When you did what?
When I clicked the locate.international link to the good website with the slides and stuff, it didn't work from the description of the video. So we should check that when we get done. I don't know if it was just on my, because when I first clicked it, it came up and it was like, are you sure you want to go to this? It was like a spam warning or a phishing warning or whatever. And I clicked yes. And then it said that, I think it went to the website, but then it said it couldn't pull up
That's weird.
the file, but my brain isn't working. But back to the sailboat. A family supposedly witnessed and said that they were concerned, which to me, that's like I don't know, it piqued my interest, because have you ever been in one of those situations where you see something and it's something so mundane, but something about it is just weird and you remember it, right? So this was a family there, and they said they witnessed two men. One potentially was Charles, and they were concerned about the safety because the pilot of the boat, I believe, was behaving suspiciously. So to me, that's something that, I don't know, something about it rings true. Now, whether or not that was actually him or not there, who knows?
Well, I guess we could see if there's any kind of an account in a paper. Was it on Lake Okanagan?
Is that next to Tiny Town? No, not Tiny Town. Wait, here's a picture of the marina. What does that say? The Kelowna. This is downtown Marina, Kelowna. So I'm assuming it would be on that lake. That lake is big, though. And then it says, unfortunately, the RCMP. Oh my God, you've got to be sorry. You've got to be kidding me. It says, unfortunately, the RCMP misplaced their registration number of the boat.
Oh, so lovely.
The pilot remains unidentified.
You know what was weird? And I probably won't be able to freaking find it again. I should have put a pin in it. So I'm on here. I have that story in the back of my head, just as you do right now. And I go to this odd place that's like not even really by the water. And there is this boat that looks exactly like that boat. It was so creepy. It was somewhere
Weird.
over by. Yeah, I should
Now,
be
is
able
that
to find
boat
it.
in the picture? That's just a random boat, right? Or is that a boat that like that family took a picture of?
Oh, it probably is just a rando boat. You're probably right. Well, for one, this was a super cool picture.
So I guess I stopped reading in the middle of that paragraph. So to go along with what I was saying, that like rang like a true story to me. They even, I don't know if this is after he went missing or not, but that means the family reported it to the RCMP along with the registration number, which means it was weird enough to them to get the, I guess what's equivalent to like a license plate for the boat. So like, I don't know. I'd like to know who that person is and if like because if you're going out on a boat with somebody, you're, fairly good friends with them, even if you just met them.
You would
So
think.
it's like, did they meet up later again at some point? If that was him.
I know it was right around in here. I didn't realize there were so many pictures that I needed to like save it specifically. I really feel like it was like.
I totally forgot we were doing a live stream too.
Oh, I know. I did too. Oops.
This is like our normal talks, so.
Yeah, that's why I kind of thought it would be fun, but I don't think it is.
I should have read up on everything before too.
Some of these pictures are just absolutely gorgeous. I'll find it because it was. Dang it, I'm so mad at myself. I wonder if I took a screenshot of it.
Oh, his mom is saying, how does one join the discussion? I think she's
I think we're getting ready. We're going to end this one because I've been on here for 3 hours. But I think what is going to be what I had talked to her about is doing this one to kind of lay some of the groundwork as far as the timeline goes, and then having her come back in and help us fill it in. I didn't want to have, like, I thought it would work out better and for her schedule, my schedule and everything to do that one next weekend, because then, I wanted to have as little input as possible when I was doing just timeline research and stuff. So that's why I was like really trying to just focus on what the papers had to say, except I would have been done in about 5 minutes, if that makes sense. And so then I kind of looked for other sources, found a few different things, but other than just like all of the research that she's done and given to everybody over the years, there really isn't anywhere else to get the information. But I wanted to go ahead and try. That way we didn't have, some confirmation bias going on.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, in theory, but I just was expecting to find so much more stuff, So it's kind of.
It kind of goes along with what you were saying very originally, though, is it's who knows if there's been stuff found because people might not have been able to like find the missing case and match them together.
Exactly. And that's like, how amazing would that be if it just all it takes is just some really annoying people, which we know we both can be when we're on a trail, and just making calls and driving people crazy of like, hey, I found this article and da 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 da. And it's, have you found, where do you store your remains? Like, where is this guy? You know, like, where is this unidentified? Because all I'm finding is in the paper. You know, just someone to bug them and ask them a lot of questions. And I know I can, but we got to find out. Actually, I will have to probably send some money to a friend of mine that lives in Canada, because making a bunch of phone calls to Canada is quite expensive. I did that one time and it cost me $65 and I was only on the phone for like 10 minutes.
Isn't there a way?
I don't think I can call them from Messenger. This is so bugging me that I can't find this dang boat. It was such a cute picture because there was like two dogs in the picture, and like a guy walking a dog, and just like randomly in this, have I already gone through all these and just wasn't paying attention? Randomly in this picture, there's a sailboat turned on its side, just sitting in the front of someone's driveway. And it looks just like that boat.
When they identify remains, like back, let's say in the early 90s, how do they identify, or how do they estimate age? Do you know?
Bone density, different like bone growth plates. If they're there or if they're not, I mean, that tells a lot of the age. You can age a bone, you know, by, what's that called? Where's old Bantry at? He would know that for,
like I know
with the right words.
I don't know. I was just wondering,
carbon dating, that kind of thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Or I was wondering, like, were they as accurate then as they are now, or is that something that we've always, we've known how to do for a long time? Because then, let's say they aren't as accurate as they are, or they weren't as accurate as they are now. Then is there a chance that there's remains that are unidentified but labeled as like a 40-year-old man?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, to where, and the thing with
you'd skip
Charles is he didn't really have, other than that little scar on his head, which more than likely it did not do any damage to his skull. Maybe it did, and it'd be something to find out. But like, you're gonna need, and they scoffed at her when she had saved some of his hair, like clippings that were in his bag. Like they did track down some of his belongings. Someone had taken a couple of his nice shirts, and she got them back, and she turned them over to them. Someone else had taken his things, and it was retrieved. I believe that one was by the police. There was like 4 tiny little things, which will be in the slide for the next time, of a tiny little Bible, like a red Bible, a piece of his bootstrap, and a rosary were the only things that were left in the shed at the orange shack thing at Tiny Town. Everything else was gone. Like, they threw it away in I think it was by June or July or something like that. Or maybe it was April of the next year.
You said a Bible, a rosary, and a piece of his bootstrap?
Boot. Yeah. Just like a tiny little piece off of his boot.
they shouldn't have thrown it away, but I could see how somebody wouldn't want to throw away a rosary and a Bible and maybe didn't notice the piece of the boot.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's weird. Why would there be a piece of a boot, though?
I don't know. Oh, and maybe it broke and he thought he could get it, re-sewn back on.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think.
Was there a picture of it?
Yeah.
Was it big? How big was it?
Let me send it to my computer. Wow, is something happening today? I'm getting blown up in Messenger.
I don't see it. Well, I'm not very in the loop sometimes.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Okay.
Well, it's only all it just pertains to who.
Yeah. His mom is saying good night. She has to go. She has an appointment early in the morning.
Good night. We're going to log off here in a couple minutes as well because I want to go and research. I'm sending it to you. But yeah, this one just like grabbed me. So I just keep looking, but I just keep running into dead ends. It's so frustrating. But I think I am going to go. Do you have any more? I know you'll be writing down a bunch of questions.
Yeah, I need to go. Can you send me the link to the timeline document and the one that things that have been proved document?
Mine? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't done any of that yet, because
I thought you pulled it up.
Well, I did, but as far as what can be proved, I mean, there's literally you can see when you get that. Yes, good night. Thank you for coming. I know it's probably super late or early in the morning for you right now, and I really appreciate you. And we will set up a time and do this, finish it up and get to know Charles from his mother's perspective and to get all of these little details ironed out so that I can send her that document. And then we will just start really trying to find and see if he's somewhere that he already been found, but he hasn't been found. Does that make sense?
You can teach me your tricks on how to look in databases and things like that. That's one thing I've never done.
Oh, I will. I love it. It's so fun, especially the ones that you can put in data sets, so you can put in different, because at this point, well, you pick a year you want to look at, and then you're going to be, okay, so I'm going to pick 2005. By 2005, I want to look for, these specific areas. And then, say looking around where the bikers were, maybe he did decide he cashed that check because he wanted to go along with him. Maybe he came back and Gino just wasn't aware that he came back. I just always go back to, why didn't he take his stuff? See what I do? Every time I try to think of a scenario where Charles goes somewhere else or is alive, I come back to, why didn't he take his stuff? What would make him not want his beard, his clean, he was clean shaven all the time. No one knew him in Kelowna when he didn't have a clean shaved face. He had really nice clothes and nice things. He had a tent. He had a tarp. He had, all of his hitchhiking stuff, and he just left it. Doesn't make any sense.
Since he was hitchhiking, it's not like it was a hassle to take it with him. Obviously, it was
not a house. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So it just doesn't make sense that he's just like, yeah, I'm out of here. Oh, but I'm gonna go ahead and just leave what little I have with me. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's the nature of the beast. When you're doing a cross-country trek, you want to carry with you as little as possible. So it wouldn't have been that hard for him to get all of that stuff. But my thing is how do we know anything? Like, how do you know what is just a that's why with the cold truth, like literally the name of my podcast on the like actual podcast forums, it is like, what is the truth? Because there's what can be proven, and then there's also basically of just someone's perception of the truth. It's all subject. It's subject information to how much do you trust the truth from someone else other than you finding it yourself and finding proof of it yourself. Like, it's really hard to do.
Well, you know how you're talking to the choir on that one.
Right.
I may be worse than you
strip
are.
all of that away. What do we actually know? There's pictures of his things that were left. There must be some kind of something for May 26th. Other than that, like, she has a few receipts, like she has a receipt for the fax. But it's not really. Like, there are some receipts for
His
things.
mom said if he owed rent, maybe he was afraid to go back if he didn't have sufficient funds to pay the rent. But I thought he had like 10 days paid up.
He just cashed his check.
Unless it wasn't enough, or I thought he had like another several days that he had already paid for, but I may have misunderstood.
Well, she said that there was whiteout on the thing. Like, maybe they wanted to make it look like he didn't come back. Maybe he came back and tried to pay, and that's why Phil Flett is so sus. But everyone needs to remember that he is dead now. So no need to be afraid of him. He's dead.
Well, yeah. Maybe me and you can meet off here one day and go over stuff after we both have a chance to look at things, and then
yeah, for sure. Well, I really appreciate you helping me. I know you've been kind of like in a funk with wanting, like where to look into. So hopefully this gets your juices going back.
Yeah, hopefully.
Getting you back to all of your good research. Now that the affidavit is
only for $20.
Huh?
The check was only for $20.
Oh, from Flintstones?
That's what she said.
Do you have a return check for that one? She must, if she knows how much it was for, right? Or from Flintstones.
Yeah, or if you I don't have
so
to.
So you really might have just like worked there, what, like a day? The most? For $20?
I don't know how much minimum wage was back then.
Yeah, me neither. I wasn't allowed to work. Imagine that, right?
I was just born.
I wasn't allowed to have a job in the secular world.
Oh, you could definitely would have gotten corrupted.
I sure would have. Yeah. So when I turned 18, that was when I had my first job. So,
I've actually worked since I was like 12 or 13, not at official jobs because you can't do that, but my
most
dad at
people
his
have.
business. And at
My
Flier,
kids, Tay got a job at the day she turned 15, like literally right after. And then, the little one, she hasn't really done quite as much as that, but she can. So it's not her fault. But yeah, I mean, literally from 15, they've both had jobs. So okay, well, I'm going to close her down, and I thank you so much for joining me and trying to help find Charles.
Yeah, maybe this will be something I can look into. But I'll talk to you later.
I'll send you all my PDFs so you can
that'd be great.
Look at all of them. Okay, cool. All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you guys for helping us and being here tonight. Gordy Cap, who helped Charles pitched his tent. Was intimidated and threatened by 1989 manager Phil Flett. Oh, interesting. So the plan is that I'm going to go live again next week, and we are going to finish up talking. Hopefully, sorry, my stomach's upset. My throat's not feeling right. I better not be getting sick again. But yeah, so we will do if anybody else like there, just send me a message, like a messenger, or you can send me an email, coldtruthpodcast@gmail.com. You want PDFs, you want to work on this with us, like, please, by all means, I'll create a Google Docs. You can create a fake Gmail account. Anybody can do it, or you can do one on Outlook, and that way no one has to know who you are, and you can get on there and you can help us fill in some of the blanks, and you can be completely anonymous in doing that. So if you do want to get these Google Docs and all the information and help us do a research project together and actually kind of like give back to the community a little bit by doing some real, not just like talking about it or talk about the same thing all the time, like maybe we could really make a difference. So I appreciate everyone that has stuck around, been here, and I will talk to you all later. Have a good one.